So I'm now going to ask Nicole Smith to pop on, show her camera, and take over screen sharing. Nicole Smith is a longtime friend of mine, VP of Instructional Technology at Classlink, and we're going to hear from her now about what's happening with how to avoid the digital access issues that derail remote learning. I think this is really important, particularly for newbie districts, because not everyone has this technology of all the newbie districts and schools that have joined the fray with the pandemic. So it's critical that this message gets out. Learning Council is getting fully behind what these guys are doing right now, and as well as, a lot of the other companies we work with. So Nicole, I'm going to give it over to you. I'm going to turn my camera off, but I'm going to pop on again at about 1:15. So you have until about 1:15, maybe I'll get on a little bit earlier, just so you and I can dialogue about new stuff happening. Does that sound cool?
That sounds fantastic. Well, I have to say, I promise I had no idea that Fulton County Schools was going on until yesterday and Safari Montage, but both are fantastic partners of Classlink, and you will hear a lot of similar messages and a lot of similar things, even same analogies. I was over here chuckling on mute. But first off, going to apologize because I'm breaking the cardinal rule of too many slides, but I'm going to go through them pretty quickly. But I want to talk about 2020, and just to start it off with a little humor, because that's important to me, but it just seemed like it was just nonstop. As soon as you got used to one norm, another thing kept coming down the pipeline, and we kept hearing from our partners on how can we establish this new norm and to meet these needs. And what I really appreciated about last year is we've all heard the term never waste a good crisis, but I really felt like it gave us such an opportunity to refocus and evolve. And you're right, the vast majority of school districts in the United States are still trying to figure things out. And I feel like we were rewarded with being able to see so many creative options, seeing people explore, really come together and unite for the best interests of all students. I felt like it helped shift priorities, and things that IT departments and K-12 districts have been clamoring for forever finally became a priority. How are we truly going to get access for all students? What was kind of touching definitely to me was I feel like new heroes came about last year, and many of them are you guys and the roles and the things that you were doing for our students. And I really felt like it gave us this chance for a change and for progress. So just a couple pictures of some of our partner districts, but I know that the images that you guys are seeing, this is what you were doing in your districts as well. So really, I just want to say kudos to everyone on here for being able to just pull together and do amazing things in a very short time frame. And what we were hearing from a lot of our partners was just, like I said, the challenge of juggling all these pieces. How do you provide access and equity, but maintaining that it's happening in a secure environment, and kind of like Rob and Dr. Bell were talking about, but analytics, who's using what, who's engaged, are they even able to access all these different resources that have been purchased? And so with these needs and taking a look at all this, there were a lot of barriers that came up, and barriers that we really had to unite, whether it was with state institutions or partnerships. I know in many of the states might have seen something similar to this. We heard it all over the national news. But this is an example of two students that were sitting outside a Taco Bell to take advantage of the Wi-Fi so that they could get their homework done. So again, just really this need to meet all the students. Now, I'm going to throw a number up here. And this number fluctuates, but it's always kind of around the same. And what this number represents, a couple years ago, I asked our marketing and research department to go in and to take a look at all of the partner districts that Classlink worked with. And I was curious the average number of applications and resources we were helping them manage. And that answer came to 163. That was the average for all districts without any filters. So regardless of size or area or rural. And like I said, the number definitely changes, it fluctuates, but it's always very high and it's always similar to this number. And so I did a little research and I saw some things that said, as no surprise, probably to anyone that is watching this in this room, is that there is an app overload and that a median of less than 30% of purchased licenses actually get used. And in that usage, less than 10% of that was with intensive usage. So again, these challenges of we have the resources, how do we utilize them? How do we get students on board? And then the final piece that I kind of want to throw out there is security. So this is a map, anyone can go to it. It's k12cybersecure.com/map, and it'll show you all of the cybersecurity attacks that have gone on, and you can check different regions and what they are, but it's definitely a nationwide problem, honestly a worldwide problem. So again, all these pieces that you guys are trying to meet to do the best, make sure that we have these best practices going. And you've heard some of the ways that Fulton has addressed it, how great publishers like Safari Montage have come at it. This is the Classlink approach. So for those of you that haven't heard of Classlink, we are an all-inclusive subscription that manages the life cycle of digital resources. We are most well known for our single sign-on platform. We've been doing it first, we've been doing it the longest, and it's something that we're very passionate about, removing those hurdles for your end users to make sure that they can access those resources and get those instructional tools that you guys have invested in. And then also the analytics. So who's doing what, who's engaged. I'm not going to really be talking today about what's on the right-hand side, but know that all of this comes with the Classlink subscription. I liken it to an all-you-can-eat buffet. So you pay an interest price and you get all these pieces, and then we work with your team to roll them out. But behind the scenes, before these programs can even get into your student and teacher's hands, we need to make sure that the infrastructure is set up, right? So authenticating, managing those user names and passwords, creating, so automating that onboarding and offboarding, making sure that everyone in the district has tools, including parents. So these are all the pieces that come with Classlink and what we're able to do. Usually there's a video that I show. I know that videos typically don't translate well over Zoom and webinars, so I'm going to spare you that. But if you guys are interested in seeing how some of our partner districts are utilizing us and some of the best practices that they recommend in general, I recommend going to our website, classlink.com, going to case studies, and you can see many videos there. But in short, Classlink, we will have been around for 23 years, the beginning of March. We're approximately 14 million unique users here in the US. We partner with about 1,800 school districts here in the US as well. We're in 20 countries, 2 statewide deployments, and our platform is available in 14 languages. You'll see that number on the bottom. This also always grows, but right about now, we're at about 460 vendor partners. And what I mean by vendor partners, these are vendors that we have worked with on security and data privacy issues when it comes to rostering. So people like Safari Montage and Achieve 3000 and these great publishers that you guys are investing in are great partners that have worked with us to make sure that we can utilize and roster their solutions in a very secure fashion that is adhering to the data privacy agreements and policies that you guys have in place. Now that's for rostering. When it comes to single sign-on, we have over 6,000 different apps in our library that constantly evolves. If you guys have a connection that you need built, we build that at no additional charge. That's how we grow the library and how we bring on those resources. And then you also have, how do you allow your users to sign into Classlink? So these are different methods, and some of this might just look alphabet soup if you're not on the IT side, but know that it's not a one size fits all. It's definitely customized and personalized based on group or profile. So if you wanted something very easy, like a quick card for your kindergarten students where they can just hold up the QR code and log right in. You can turn that on for them. Or if you want something that has added level of security, like 2-factor, you can turn that on for like your administrators. So again, a wealth of different ways that you can allow these tools to get into the hands of your users. Now, I'm going to end with showing you guys this live, but I want to talk about a few things kind of that Dr. Bell touched on and that Rob was talking about as well, because it was definitely the trends. And some of the questions, Leilani, that you are asking about is, you know, some districts might be very advanced, some districts might be kind of falling in the middle, some districts might just for the first time really be moving to remote and trying to figure out digital resources. So we were curious at Classlink to see what that looks like for our 14 million users. And so what we did is we took a look at our data in our analytics, and we went in and we examined last year, right? So we went to the beginning of the year. We have our transition here, right, when the COVID pandemic really hit and most states and districts were shut down. And then we took a look at that window where it moved to remote learning. And we really wanted to understand the trends. What did it look like? And not rocket science, right? We came in here, we took a look at all this. We threw out the transition window, and there emerged, there emerged 3 different patterns. Either they stayed the same, they increased, or usage decreased. But for the vast majority of our partners, the usage increased. So then we went in and we took a look at the size of the districts. Were they rural? You know, were they urban? Trying to find these trends and patterns. And here's some examples of some partner districts. So here's kind of a smaller district here. Again, you can see their use on their Classlink platform and the different digital resources that they're accessing. You can again see kind of where that falls at and that increase in that usage. So there we have a small district, kind of a medium-sized district, and a large district. And we wanted to see again what these best practices were. What helped districts, I'll use Fulton as an example, and there are many others out there, be able to not only, you know, remain static at where they were at, but to increase their usage of these tools and to really maximize these different results. So I have 3 additional stories that I'm going to share. They provided some information and some slides for me, just to kind of share, so you guys who are watching this can maybe find someone that maybe meets more of how your district is, whether, like I said, location, size, all that great stuff. So this is a mid-size, kind of smaller mid-size district in Northern California. And some of the best practices and things that they did in March, the first step was to make sure that their users had a one-stop shop and that everything that they needed to access was up on that portal so that there were no excuses, no roadblocks to getting those things there. They also worked very heavily, the IT department, to make sure that all the resources that they were using were being rostered via our roster server so that they could automate, so that if, you know, a student quickly made a switch from in-person instruction to remote, or you guys are moving back to hybrid or switching back and forth schools, everything would just seamlessly follow. Didn't matter where they go, what they were doing when it was being imported with our provisioning and rostering servers. They also deployed over 12,000 Chromebooks in less than 2 weeks, which was amazing. So again, kind of removing those hurdles and making sure that tools were in the hands, they had the support, they had the tools. Another example would be a little bit different, a little bit larger suburban district in Southern California, very diverse, a lot of English language learners. And what they really focused on was making sure that everything that was utilized was being vetted and that they were adhering to the student data privacy agreement. So kind of like Dr. Bell was saying, We heard that loud and clear. It was kind of the wild, wild west. Everyone's struggling to get tools in the hands of students, and districts not really having the chance to vet them before they were being utilized, and some of the hiccups and things that caused, and data breaches and things that were going on. So this district really made sure, again, that they had the opportunity to vet those applications, which is something that the Classlink portal allows them to do very seamlessly. And at the same time, cultivate a custom library so that teachers also had the flexibility of taking those tools that were vetted by the district and quickly assigning them out to students in their classes. So kind of the best of both worlds there, making sure, again, that very easy methods were given to students who needed simplicity, like the QR codes. And then also making sure that there was unified communication, that everyone was aware of the tools, and that there was some structure, and that starting to streamline how things were being accessed. Here's another district, Central California. Kind of smaller district here. Again, very diverse, a lot of different languages and needs to meet. They're very rural. So they were focusing on things like the Classlink mobile app, partnering to make sure that they were getting access and hotspots in the hands of their students. And I know they partnered with Kajit on their mobile buses. And you've heard stories of districts who were, parking the buses in apartment complexes and things like that overnight so that their students could have access. So some of the innovative things that Merced Union High School District did. And again, last district here as well. And again, they were focusing on mobile app and communication tools and bringing in the parents, utilizing the parent portals, the different languages there, and the notifications and analytics into what they're doing. So with that being said, for my last 10 minutes, I want to jump into Classlink and show you guys what that looks like. So Classlink, we're device agnostic. Doesn't matter if it's a student's personal phone, if it's an iPad, district issued, laptop or Chromebook, you're going to be able to access this from anywhere as long as they have that internet connection. Now, everyone's login page looks completely different. Here's, excuse me, sorry, want me to know that I should be in Learning Council right now. But here's Albuquerque Public Schools in New Mexico. So you'll see that, they've decided to allow for username and password management. They also have a SAML login. So different ways that they allow their users to sign in. Here's an example of Santa Fe Public Schools, one of our newer partners in New Mexico that is actually just rolling out right now in January. So you can see they have a little notification system. They allow their users to reset their own passwords. So there's a lot of configurability to turn it on and off, but a lot of flexibility in what you want these tools to look like. We'll also build native apps for you guys, for your mobile users. So again, everyone's page looks completely different, up to those districts on how they want that look and feel to be. Once they log in, I'm going to go ahead. They can log in with Google credentials, or like I said, that QR code. It's going to take them into their portal, which is personalized based on who the user is. So again, while it's a one-stop shop, it is not a one-size-fits-all. So that is going to be customized based on what programs they need to access, who they are. Sometimes I was going to turn my camera off. Sometimes there's a delay when I've got too much going on with the cameras. But one really nice thing, if I have any IT people on this webinar, is that I can impersonate other users as someone who has administrative rights. So I can come in here, and for remote tech support and troubleshooting, I can become any user. I can log into programs as them. All of that is logged in our audit logs, so you can see, who ran what and impersonated whom, but makes it really easy. So I'm an administrator. I'm going to go ahead and impersonate one of our teachers, and you'll see an example of something that might look like, if you're one of our partners, might look familiar to you, but different programs. But again, all your different programs up here, they can be pushed out by district, by course, by class, by building, by profile, grade level, even individual user. So a lot of different ways to personalize it. And then when they come in here, all they know is they just point and click and it takes them right in. We are managing all those different ways to keep those usernames and passwords secured so they don't need to worry about them, and they can just go right in to access the tools. Not only can you personalize how these icons are on here, but also the folders. So maybe you want to push out something just to all your staff and it's staff resources, or maybe it's all your Google tools. A lot of different ways to get that information up there, completely up to you guys how you want to do that. Now, I mentioned a couple different ways that this can also be personalized. So usually someone at the district is the one that's pushing out these applications. And if it's been pushed out at the district level, there'll be a lock and that can't be removed. However, districts can also choose if they want their end users to further personalize it. And if so, you can create custom libraries. So instead of seeing all the 6,000 plus programs and apps that we've built connections to, you could have a library just for teachers. And in that library are the different resources that have been vetted and that you allow your users to further personalize their dashboards for. So if I liked this resource, I can come in here and click add. And it's now on my dashboard. Now, another thing that I want to show you guys, which is one of my favorite tools, is the My Classrooms feature. So on the student side, it's called My Backpack. On the teacher side, we call it Teacher Console. But when Classlink is used with our roster server, it feeds information to us from your student information system. And it tells you, if you're a teacher, what classes you're teaching, who are in your classes, and you can come into those classes, right? You can name them whatever you want. You can push out announcements, assigned links, videos, whatever you want. But in here, if the district turns it on, you're also able to push out any vetted applications to students in your class. So you guys also have some control over what is assigned to them. So I just maybe removed a few that we're not using this semester and I assigned out a new one. So again, meeting that need of making sure that things are vetted and secure, but also giving teachers the power to assign additional things that they need for their classroom. Now, we also have a discussion board feature. All of these threads and discussions are in our analytics. You can see who's engaging, who's not. And then teachers can also, with the approval of IT, if it's turned on, they can reset student passwords. For students in their classes, they can come in and view in-depth analytics for anyone in their class. They can come into here. I know one of our Arizona districts, Alhambra Elementary School District, is using this as means of reporting their attendance back to the state, but we do show in real time who's logged in for the day. And not only do we show logins, we show breakdowns of how much time they're spending and in which apps. And all of this can be exported in a PDF file or CSV. Teachers can also do this for all their classes at once, not just individual classes. So there's a lot of information in here. Something else that was really popular during this past spring when districts were shut down and everyone was working remotely was our My Files. In My Files, you can connect any cloud drives, and then if there's anyone who needs to access a shared network file folder, so a shared drive, that can be done without VPN technology. And so once they're logged into Classlink, let's say maybe I'm a student in Yearbook and I need to access some photos that are up on the shared drive or submit some of my pages that I've been working on, I can come in here and I can open up those files or folders from anywhere, again, without being on campus or in the district office, make changes, edit, start new workflow documents, and when I save it, it's saved back in the shared network file folder. Also, if there's more than one drive being used, I can come in here and I can do a universal search across all those drives for any of those files and folders. And then I can drag and drop those files and folders between those different files. So I only have a few minutes left. The last thing that I want to show you guys is analytics at a district level. So I know, and I'm just pointing them out because they happen to be on there, and you heard some of the great things that Dr. Bell was talking about. Fulton's been a partner of ours for some time. Fantastic partner. And I know that our engagement team works closely with their team on analytics such as this. So who's utilizing, how many apps are being, rostered, who's spending time in what. So a lot of information can be pulled in here. It will show unique users, also show cumulative usage. And then if you've been with us for more than a year, you can see trends for any given time. And then it's going to log everything that's being launched. So something like this particular district, their LMS and their assessment tools are their most highly utilized. I can come in here and I can click on that tool. It's just going to make me log back in again. Excuse me. We'll do that really fast. I can log back in, and when that tool pulls up, it can show me exactly who's using it. I can go in and search for by student, by teacher. I can even do by group or profile. I can compare schools. We can drill down to just the very time that they're spending in those different programs, and really be able to make sure that you guys are maximizing on that return of investment there. And so it's pulling it up for me. I can also do, when I log into those resources, sorry, I know there's a bit of a delay. We'll give it just a sec to catch up with me. You can also come in here when it pulls up and do a comparison by school. So this happens to be a large partner district, so we'll give it just a moment to think. While it does that, I'll have to show you another window that I've already got pulled up. But I could come in here to a specific school and I could search by role and see how much time these different individuals are spending in applications. And then this is what I was waiting to pull up to show you. This is where I can come in here to schools and drill all the way down to an individual level if we want. So I showed you that through the dashboard. I can also go in and search all applications. So it's going to show me how many times it's launched, total time spent in the program, average time in program. You saw me drill into one of them. You could come in here and search. Like I have superintendents tell me, we didn't realize that we were using 28 math programs and we only have 5,000 students. I mean, you can come in here and see what's being utilized, and maybe you want to change up how those resources are being spent. There's a place in here where you can track licenses, so costs. So how much is being spent on these programs? Are you guys getting that ROI? Or is it something that you need to provide a little more support or change up how that's purchased? So a lot of information in there. The last thing I'll do before I know Leilani wants to jump on and ask some questions is I'm going to show you those heat maps that I showed you at a teacher level. This is what it could look like at a district level. So pull in all the buildings, the number of expected users, versus how many have actually logged in for the day. And again, I can click on these and get those specifics pulled up. And not only, again, can I see the login information, I can see the app usage as well. And I'm going to try to pick something small that might load quickly for me in the interest of time. But if I want to know exactly what the school is doing with their 76 hours of usage, I can click on that. Give that just a chance to load. Sorry, we've got kids upstairs doing Google Classroom, so pulling on my internet. Let me see if I can do it this way. There we go, that's what I want to show you. There we go. And then I can also click, dang it, keeps logging me out. Click on that time to show the breakdown. So that's Classlink at a super high level as far as what the single sign-on portal looks like, an example of just a few of the analytics that they can use. But really, again, I just want to make sure, like Dr. Bell and Rob are talking about, it's all about interoperability and partnering and working together, whether it be district personnel or your publishers or the vendors that you're working with. But really, it truly is a time when, not to use the cliche, but we truly are all in this together. And Classlink, we are so proud to be able to partner with so many and to hear of your needs and for you guys to help really push us to the next level. We built those login heat maps back in March at the request of our partner districts who needed to be able to report back on engagement and attendance. So, we couldn't be where we are without the stellar districts like you that we partner with. So I wanted to say thank you to that. And with that, Leilani, I'm going to go back to all my screens, but I know you probably have some questions as well. So
yeah,
we'll go
hi.
ahead. Yeah.
Hi, good to have you. Yeah, so we have another, we have about 11, 12 more minutes that we can talk about this. So everybody that's on right now, ask questions, get involved. We really like these to be feeling like we were together again, like we miss coming to Phoenix.
I know, right? I'm so ready to get out of the house.
I know, we're all so ready. And, stop wearing only elastic waistbands, so yeah, we're ready. So here's what I really wanted to ask you is,
sure,
you get to look at a lot of what's going on in real time within schools. And I guess the question that I really have is, since the pandemic, do you really see teachers trying to personalize for what gets distributed per student? Like, are they still sort of whole grouping everything, or are they feeling the pressure of consumerized learning and wanting to go, okay, well, Johnny needs this versus Elizabeth needing that? Is there do you see like a little bit of a trend there?
That is a great question, Leilani. I can tell you from Classlink, and as a parent, so I have 3 kids of my own, 2 that are still in K-12. And I don't mean to like buck the question and pull it off, but I'm seeing a little bit of everything, right? Okay. I see teachers who are absolutely just taking it to the next level, and they are doing just what you said, right? They now have these tools in their hands where they can see exactly what student's engaging, what student isn't. We have some reports that show who's engaged, who isn't, who was unable to log in, failed login reports, and why. So being able to have access to reports like that allows them to reach out, right, to these students. I had a teacher reach out to one of my daughters to see what was going on, because she noticed that she wasn't really participating in some of the AP discussions and doing some of those things. And then I've also seen other teachers who this is a brave new world for them, and a lot of this had to be pushed out without training, or not as much training as they would have hoped for. And in the spring, when it first pushed out, just kind of panic, right? And I saw a lot of, I'm out of my comfort zone, I'm just doing this, and I don't care who you are or where you are, you're getting this, right? Because this is what I'm comfortable with, and this is what I'm familiar. But what I really saw a shift, and I know when we went in and we're digging deep with our partners as well, is I have seen such growth from last spring to the end of this last calendar year, right? Where there's been so much support and so much tools, and really being able to empower teachers to be able to do that differentiation. And I have seen such a growth in that, which has been amazing to me. I've been in ed tech now for 22 years. I remember when we first company I worked with, and we had an online program, and everyone was panicking. Everyone wanted their, workbooks, their consumable workbooks with their pencils, right? Yeah. No one wanted that online program. And we were talking stations and differentiation for 20 years. And now to see these districts and these teachers be empowered and actually do these amazing things that they're doing has just been heartwarming. So we're definitely seeing a trend of more migrating to that model, but I wouldn't say that everyone's doing it by any means.
Yeah. It's a change moment for a lot of the newbies. There's a lot of new districts that have joined into the fray, and they're sort of going through a really rapid learning curve. Okay, so then the next question that I have for you is, what about the overall traffic on the teacher? So the thing that we've zeroed in on at Learning Counsel, and kind of what we picked up out of our big national survey this year, is that there's a lot of traffic for the teacher now. So you move some kids to remote, or like Dr. Bell was talking about, they're doing simultaneous. So they've got some kids that are remote and some that are socially distanced in the classroom. So suddenly how you message out and the traffic on you as a teacher, telling the student individually, what do you do next? What's next?
Right.
Especially when you're trying to personalize with what resource. It's a lot of traffic. So what are you hearing or seeing with regards to that? And I know you're still sharing screen, so.
I am, because I want to pull something up that's going to answer your question, but I'll talk broad level too. So one of the things, and this is just what Classlink offers, right? I know there are a lot of publishers that have, other options as well, but and Safari Montage was talking about it, right? Rob was talking about how they're able to go in and show, I think you called it digital objects, Rob, but what they're learning and what they're able. So I think with a little support and a little training to teachers and, sharing out best practices of those who are doing it well, that being able to come in, if this even wants to load, I might just turn off my screen. They are being empowered with information like never before. And so while there is a very heavy load and heavy burden on the teachers, I know of school districts where a teacher is teaching in the classroom, right? And they might have 5 or 6 students in person with them, and the rest of the class, they're also juggling remote. They're teaching remote as well. Yeah. And how on earth, right? Do you juggle both methods like that and make sure that everyone's engaged? And what I've been so impressed with is the tools that these publishers and people are pulling out and utilizing, and mine don't want to load, so we'll just ignore them. But really, if they can just see the benefit of just taking a little time and clicking on those, the technology is doing a lot of the heavy lifting and the work for them and showing, right? Yeah. What's been completed, where they're struggling. Each publisher might say, here's, the standards they're struggling with, or growth on baseline. So that's being given to them. And we're starting to see an increase of teachers utilizing that, right, into their prep time to be able to reach out and differentiate. And I think one of the great things about tools like Google Classrooms and Microsoft Teams is, it's so easy now to just shoot a little message, to Nicole Smith saying, hey, what's going on? Haven't seen your camera on all week. Doesn't look like you're doing the assignments. Is there anything I can help you with? But they have those tools to reach out and to kind of help with all that traffic and those loads that they're seeing.
Yeah. Yeah, which you have to have now, because if you can't eyeball a kid, they're not sitting in the classroom. You can't see them check out, right?
Absolutely.
And so it's a different game, and teachers are straddling 2 worlds right now. It's kind of hairy for people. So, well, cool. Well, those are my primary questions, because really what we're looking at is a mutation. Things are mutating, and structurally there's a burden there that the tools are really good at adding value into, but there's also the issue of traffic. And I just have a lot of attention on that. Oh, how great. Look at your beautiful people.
You can see pre-COVID hair and post-COVID hair, right? I am just waiting for the hair salons to open back up where I'm at. Yeah. Absolutely. And I do want to recognize that, especially, right, for Arizona, New Mexico, these states that we're talking to today, I mean, providing access is the real hurdle, right? And it's nice to have all these tools and reports and bells and whistles, but if you can't get your students on the system, I mean, some of it is just basics, right? Yeah. So what we were talking about a few years ago. So we recognize the struggle and the hurdles, and we applaud.
Yep. The struggle is real. The struggle is real.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So good to have you.
Yes, it's great seeing you guys again.
Within the Arizona, New Mexico. And we did record, so we're going to be launching this later. We'll probably do a few edits, Nicole. So that anybody who couldn't make it today gets to watch the recording and see you and what you guys are doing now. So thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.